Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Henry, this is Lock Valley Farms, and today we're going to head over the road and load a road train with grain out of the grain shed. Now, we have had a couple of absolute belter frosts the last 2 nights. Yeah, just completely snow white this morning, and the same yesterday morning as well. So we have copped an absolute belting with frost this year, and it's just because we haven't been getting any rain. So it's a bit frustrating. It just sets everything back every time you get a frost, slows everything down, but can't do much about it at the end of the day, can you? So yeah, if you watched any of my harvest videos, you would have seen possibly that we fill the shed here with barley, and we sell it later on off farm. Now that just works well for us in a couple of ways, and that is that, well, we don't have to pay the freight to get the grain to the silo for a start, so we save there. And it also gives us a shot of income during the middle of the year, which is really, really nice. But this stuff here is just going straight to a feedlot. Basically, it's just feed quality barley. The problem with it is, and you probably won't see it in my hand, that there's quite a bit of wheat in this, and that's just because last year we didn't get any rain before we seeded. The barley went in basically dry, and of course you get a lot of volunteer wheat. Now, all going well on a good year, this stuff will be this could be malting quality, which means it could be used for making beer or something like that. But unfortunately, this year we're going to be in the exact same position where we didn't get any early rain, we didn't germinate any of the volunteer wheat, and you know, it's just going to be feed quality again. So it's a little bit annoying, but at the end of the day, probably 9 out of 10 years, it's quite hard to get the grade for malting, we find. So I thought I'd elaborate when I say we save money on freight by storing the grain here. We actually save money 2 ways by keeping the grain on farm, and that is, number one, normally we got to freight it to a silo. We use carriers, and that works out, I think it's about 15 or 16 bucks a tonne to get it over to Gladstone silo, which is our closest sort of major silo. And then inevitably they give you less price there because the grain buyers, because they got to ship the grain off then to a port. So, you know, say the price of barley is $300 a tonne in Port Adelaide, they're only going to give you about $280 a tonne in Gladstone. So what we do then is we sell the grain off farm at the Port Adelaide price, and then the buyer comes and picks it up straight off farm. So we're not carting it anywhere. I mean, we've got to cart it back to the shed, so there's a little bit of double handling, but you know, we're basically saving $30 to $40 straight off the bat on freight costs. So it works out, you know, like I said, a bit of double handling, but it works out really well in our favour, I think. So, and plus it gives us a little shot of mid-year income, which is also nice. But as you can see, just scoop it up with the loader there, drop it straight into the chassis bin, truck pulls up next to the chassis bin, and then we outload him from there, and well, we load him up from there, and off he goes. Nice and full. Well, that's another load done and dusted, gone, getting through it. We've still got a grain bag out at Barley that we need to outload as well, but we just got to, you know, sort of team up and find the perfect time where it sort of works in with everyone, and we'll go out and unload that all in probably 2 or 3 days, get it all done. What is going on, gang? We are back, and we got about 8 millimeters of rain last night, making it our biggest rain since the 6th of June. And I'll tell you what, today is a happy day because of the rain, but it's also a very sad day. and that's because we're saying goodbye to an icon. That's right, the old CTS is leaving Lock Valley Farms today after 22 years here. It's been sitting around in the shed for the last couple of years. It hasn't really done too much, so it got sold at auction probably a month ago or so. But yeah, a bit of a sad day to see the old girl go. She's done a lot of hours here, done a lot of work, been an absolutely amazing machine. Just so reliable, just awesome old iron. Be sad to see the old girl go, but off to a new home today. Look at that, there's actually some puddles in the yard. Haven't seen that for a while. Do you care to say a few words, or?
Yeah. It's just a machine. I will miss it, but yeah.
It's been here for 2 decades, so.
Yeah. Makes more room in the shed.
Yeah, that's it.
Walk past it.
I haven't even looked in a mirror yet to see, but I just tried to open a door and my foot caught the door, and then I walked straight into the door. So if I have a big shiner here, I think I can feel it swelling up a bit now. That's what I did. I'm just walking into doors out here, alright? So just look out when you're around me. Alright, now the old CTS is gone. What I am doing today is starting to get some pre-season repair jobs done on this thing, because we've got another baby coming in mid-September. It's early August now, but I just want this thing to be as ready as possible before the baby comes, so it's just, I'm not stressed about it, I'm not worried about it as we're leading up to harvest. So it's certainly early enough in the year, but the sooner I get it out of the way, the sooner it's off my mind. And the job for today is, well, we've got a brand new feeder house chain here. So if you don't know, that's the feeder house, or this is the feeder house, this is the chain. That drags, after the front cuts the crop, this is how it feeds it up into the machine to be separated. So what I'm planning to do is remove the entire feeder house from the machine, because I just think I've seen the job done when it's in the machine and it just looks like a pain in the butt. So I'm going to take it off, get it down, get it away from the machine, have a really good look at everything back on the machine side, and then it should make my life a little bit easier to change the cogs, or the gears, sorry, on the back, and then slide the new chain in and all that sort of thing. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Please don't watch this and think that this is a how-to video. I don't have a John Deere book or manual for this. I'm not a John Deere trained mechanic. This is just me taking the feeder house off and doing this job, so let's do it. So this thing is just about ready to lift off. We're just going to come in with the loader. I've spoke to the guys at our dealership, and apparently all they do is just stick a forklift up, straight up in there like that, and they lift it off that way. I think I've heard the correct way to do it is to put some sort of a lifting device under here, and then you basically just back away from it using the machine. But if that's the way they do it, that's the way we're going to do it. So all we got to do is get the loader up in here, and then a couple of bolts out of there, one on the other side. Hydraulic cylinders, there's just a pin on either one of those, so we'll just bash those out and hopefully she'll come out. Not bad at all, buddy. She's out of there. Have a look at that. Like I was saying earlier, you can do this job in. This is the shaft you're fighting. That's a big shaft. You got to slide all these gears around. You got bearings in the end, and you know the whole time you got to be jammed up in there doing it. So much easier this way, I think, considering, well, I've never taken one of these off before, and it probably only took me about 2 or 3 hours. So yeah, there it is. Happy days. The other thing I want to do, or I really wanted to do, was while the feeder house is off, I want to swap these plates around on the feed accelerator. They're getting a bit rounded on this side. They're nice and sharp on the other side, just to help feed the crop into the machine. So yeah, we'll swap those around and get a bit more life out of them yet. I am going to call it a day now, I think, because it's about 5 o'clock anyway, and look, things are going pretty well down here, I think, but I'll come back in the morning and clean up this absolute abomination that's here now. And then we're off to Adelaide for a bit of a long weekend, so that should be nice to get away, but I think that's about it for today. Got some dad duties to attend to, I guess. You got an algae? What have you been doing? You've been having a tea party.
I pick a fork in the mouth.
Yeah, that was a bit silly, wasn't it? You don't poke a fork in the mouth.
No.
No.
Did you see her tea party set up?
Yeah. We'll see you later, guys. Have a good one.